Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Assalatu wassalamu ala mursalin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh everyone. Alhamdulillah. Welcome to another night edition of Real Conversation at South Ilahi. And tonight we had an interesting discussion. What we go through after 3 months, I would say 3 months, and things are getting topsy-turvy every now and then. So tonight we have a very interesting, I would say, guest. We have Ustaz Amin Yusof, and we also have Brother Rijal. And each have their own expertise and their experience in spiritual and also in dealing with business. And I think this is very important for us to discuss because sometimes we don't really understand what's going on, and sometimes we have fear unnecessarily, right? Ustaz Amin is studied in Egypt for 2 years, and then he went to Tarim, Rubat, where he studied for 5 years under the guidance of the late Habib Habib Salim Shatri. May Allah be pleased with him. And Brother Rijal, mashallah, if you look at his CV, mashallah, a lot of things he had done and achieved, from being what we call it, SMCCI board directors from 2015 to 2017, and also his experience in his own business, his own company, Pull Up Stand. And then after that, he expand his business in KL. We talked a bit about just now before we came online. And then also, he runs a train and publishing business, WGL, which should Ilahi collaborate with today. And where he published a book consists of business people experience in doing business and their struggle. I think there's so much he can share with us, and I think I want to start with him first on this tonight topic. It's a hot topic actually, and a lot of people have been discussing with me also their pressure, their fear, right, and in going through these I would say tribulations, right. So Brother Rijal, maybe I would say, like, a lot of people don't foresee this coming. Like when it first started, people talk about at that time we are saying it's Corona, not COVID-19, but Corona, and then suddenly it developed to being called as COVID-19. I remember it first started in January, and then suddenly the fear start looking in February, and then suddenly we had that circuit breaker. And suddenly it all changes. Ramadan came, and the whole hoo-ha, the house business and everything and all that. But I felt that you share a lot of interesting point of view about the government scheme and all that. What are your challenges that you face ever since this crisis started? Ever since this outbreak, I would say, globally, right? And how does it affect your business?
Okay. That's a loaded question. Okay,
loaded question for loaded men.
Itulah, nak start dari mana? Okay, so my earliest recollection of hearing about coronavirus and COVID-19 is when we were getting ready for the CNY punya weekend.
Okay.
First end of January, right?
Yeah.
That's when we started to hear about Wuhan and all that, and then of course people were saying that it started from the market where they were selling bats and dogs and all that. So yeah, I was very sad lah, because bats is very special to me, kan.
Batman.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, yeah, we were all gathered in front of the television and watching all this news as it unraveled. But when we were there at the end of January, little did we know the full impact of what's about to come and hit all of us, every single one of us. Kita selalu desensitized like that, right? We thought that it's just something that happens to others, not to us. But now we see so many industries and sectors are hit, so many countries are hit. So personally, yeah, it's been unfolding for me in my life and my different businesses pun. So kat KL we have a set of challenges. In Singapore also we have another set of challenges. But even in January and February, we thought that it's still okay. Even when Malaysia went into PKP or MCO kan,
Yeah.
kita still think kita okay. Singapore still okay kan. Tak payah pakai
Yeah.
mask. We're fine to go about.
Yeah.
Then it started with okay, maintain 1 meter distance, and then okay, wear mask.
Yeah.
So things started to get real, and then finally we went into circuit breaker. So even the weekend before before the government announced that we are going into circuit breaker, even the week before, I had a meeting dekat PA with Minister Chan. So Minister Chan Chun Sing, I mean, at that moment was still telling us it's fine. We are not going to go into lockdown. You know, but even in those next few days, when the foreign workers punya situation started to accelerate,
Yeah.
it just moved very fast. And then we found ourselves right now kan 2 months into this circuit breaker phase.
Okay, Allah. So how was your response then towards it? You know your struggle and will affect your company so much. And you know a lot of companies also affected. Even the big company we saw, like even that time at Robinson, was like close everything, right? So how you as a businessman, like you are so used to okay everything's gonna be fine, like what you mentioned, dealing with it like okay we can take it, but how you take it? I mean, a lot of people watching it, they want to learn from the way how you deal with it lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's 3 ways to answer that question. Number 1, actually I tak kuat. I am not strong to weather this, but it's so important that we are all in this, all of us kan. So that seteruk-teruknya pun there are other people really teruk jadi it's not that bad. Number 2 is that, I mean personally it's not that bad. Number 2, I've seen how my mom has gone through previous punya challenges like this in 2001 with SARS, right? And how it affected the business for a few years. Jadi, because I've seen firsthand how she went through it and also how she came out of it, and so many other business owners who have gone through things like this lah. Jadi the first phase too, when there were a lot of news, and then we have to keep tweaking the way we work, you know, for our staff and everything, and inform them and keep changing. We plan the next day, things have changed again, and then we have to plan again. You know, I remember, I mean, during that period, kita plan. We were talking about business continuity planning, and so okay, this is the BCP, this is what we're going to do in this scenario, and then tomorrow the situation changed again, and now we have to replan again. So maybe it also comes back to my mantra, which is just whack only. Just whack only means kan, janganlah plan until you are so fixated or fixed. The plans must remain flexible, and we must be able to adapt fast. So during the first phase too, the first week of circuit breaker, if you ask me, I was really exhausted, and also because the amount of news that kept coming at us, and maybe because it's my fault pun lah, I always tune into the news and I want to see the progress and what's happening, what's developing. So I was really overwhelmed. So kita ada 3 challenges. I mean, we have our health challenge due to the COVID. Then we have our economic challenge, which now we have to deal with. Right now, I think most of us pun kan, kita tak takut sangat dengan COVID, tapi we are afraid of how it affects our life, our lifestyle, our ability to put food on the table. Not now maybe, but later down the road for our families. So now it's an economic challenge, and then maybe what's not so visible is our psychological and our mental punya health challenge right now. because a lot of us keep it to ourselves. We have depression, and we're not getting help for that. Maybe not enough help for that. Yeah.
Allah is everyone, inshallah. We start coming to you after talking to Rijal. He shared his experience. And I think a lot of people going through the same thing. And whether you are doing business or you're working for someone or you're doing freelance work, different types of earning income. So through such situation, how would our spiritual response should be? And what are the things that you can advise for us to go through in our daily life, in losing our business or maybe work, people are getting retrenched, company are getting closed. So it's a worrying time.
Yeah, so when you talk about being thankful, right? there are cases in which you see it, to be thankful first, you don't need to look up, but you have to look down. As in like what Boss Rija was saying, the cases who are much worse than us, right? There are situations where I think it will happen. I would say it wouldn't happen to us, but it's something that we're thankful that we're able to go by day according to our strength that is given to us. So in Islamic terms, we believe so that this dunya is always a place of trials and tribulations. We did not go through World War I and World War II. You hear stories of our grandmas and grandpas, right? What our grandfathers went through in World War II. You have to eat, they say just pucuk ubi every day. There's no nasi lemak with paru and extra sambal. Or, roti prata banjir, so far with bits of lemak,
Yeah.
So we are the pampered generation. And I think PM Lee was saying that this is the worst economic struggle that we're going through since independence in 1965. So we believe so that with the help that's been given to us, although it doesn't help us fully, but we should be thankful. Right? One way of looking things is always be thankful with what you have. There's still food in the fridge. There's still food for you to put on the table. Of course, you can't have the lobster and the crabs, but then it's enough to fill you up. You should be thankful for all the small things in life. Like, we are lucky that things will still go on as it is. No matter how bad it's going to be, you just need to, like what brother Boss Rija said, just whack it, because you can't change the weather. It's been raining. It's either you face the rain or you're going to prepare yourself with umbrella. So there's no point on sitting and thinking about how do I overcome all this, where you need to go through daily in your life, right? So Alhamdulillah, in Islam, be thankful. It is spiritually that, for example, you think of those in India is badly affected, those in South America. Now Brazil is going to be, they're catching up on American infections, right? Then you look into the sector in which even in America, where you have the hospitals which they can't handle all the new infections. So we are thankful that in our situation that we are not as bad as others, right? That make us feel some ease for ourselves. And secondly is to have a proper mindset that inshallah tomorrow will be a better day. Inshallah tomorrow will be a better day. You have to make it this confidence, right? Because especially in business, you see, actually, if you look into the business cycle, every 10 years there comes a recession. It starts with 97, 98, where you have the currency exchange recession. And then 10 years later, the Lehman Brothers, right? The Lehman Brothers crash in 2008. And then now we have 2020. So it's like something coming, right? Under the business people, every 10 years, there's always a recession cycle coming. So this is something that I wouldn't say they look forward to, something that they expect in a cycle, right? There's a lot of difficulties we're going to go through. That is for sure. Retrenchment. We just watched the news today that over 150,000 workers has been, or so-called salary deducted to about 25%. Inclusive of Ustad. See, all the malls are closed right now. So you see the freelancers, what they are doing. So to make you feel better is take what you have. That's what they say in Arabic, manjada wajad. So you take what you have and move along with it, because this is a way of being thankful. You don't have to, starve yourself. We are thankful that it's the month of Ramadan. We just finished Ramadan, but we are thankful there's still food on the table that we are able to do and enjoy the peaceful time that we have together with our family.
Yeah. Ustaz, but in terms of yakin, we mentioned that in our podcast before, in terms of rezeki and all that. What are the spiritual routine is like that you can recommend a lot of people to do or to read in these times of tribulations, or I would say massive losing their mind, their heart, like Rijal was saying, people becoming affected spiritually and mentally.
Where the belief is that Allah says in the Quran, Inna ma'al usri yusra. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Then every hardship come ease. The words inna in Arabic, indeed, that means there's a confirmation that every hardship will come ease. You see, when Elon Musk, the guy who came up with PayPal, he said, I spend over 17 hours daily for close to 7 hours in my garage just to came up with PayPal. Was it worth it? It was well worth it. It's a multi-billion dollar. But does anyone else who's willing to spend that amount of time there in the garage? I don't think so. So every hardship there is according to how you struggle. Right? At times you see, even in Singapore, you have a lot of cases that you have second chance. You have bankruptcy. There's a second chance for him to go through. Right? So there's a so-called an opportunity for us. The yakin is believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the rizq is always still there. Right? However, when it comes to trials and tribulations, there are things that you need to actually look into yourself and see where you can better yourself, human life, your spiritually, how you manage your people, how you see your opportunities, how thankful you are to, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provisions. So this is times where you actually see your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I believe so. I strongly believe, because it's something that is being told by our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that good times will come. Good times will come in every hardship. And we see that bad things doesn't last. Even in the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a lot of struggle in Mecca, right? For 3 years, where he could not do proper da'wah. Then later he's able to do da'wah, and then he moved and hijrah to Medina. So there's hardships, but at the same time there was a lot of ease after that. Of course, he had to go through a lot of struggles in his life. So all that lessons actually is to strengthen us in our belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even when he gave us success, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave success to the battle of Badr even before they fought. They come out the verse in Revelation, وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ بِبَدْرٍ وَأَنْتُمْ أَذِلَّةٌ. Which means that Allah has given victory to the people, even though they have not fought the war. But it doesn't make you complacent in life, right? So you're supposed to strengthen your belief in Him, that it will make you overcome all the obstacles in life, inshallah.
MashaAllah, beautiful Ustaz. Back to Brother Rijal, in your experience, like you're saying people losing their jobs, and some of them can't even find jobs. I met some people online, they told me like, my old friends lah, they have degree and everything also. But now at these crucial times, they could not find jobs and they couldn't do anything. I mean, they keep trying, of course, to look and source. What would your advice be for such people who are struggling, coming to this, I would say crunch, right? It's like a crunch. What would your advice be through your experience in doing business for all these people?
I think what I advise is to invest in learning new skills, because we are rapidly moving towards digitization in our lives and business. So if we don't have those skills, then we have to pick it up. So even for myself, during this circuit breaker punya period kan, when I'm not watching Korean punya shows on Netflix, I invest in learning. So I pick up skills that I was always too busy before this to pick up. So now we have large pockets of time. Jadi kita belajar new skills. A lot of people are being displaced, so they are taken out from where they are very comfortable, and they have to do things they are not comfortable about. Even those who, for example, they were driving Grab, and now there's not enough passengers for Grab, and they are moving towards doing Grab food. There's a lot of unhappiness, and sometimes you can see that pun dekat Saffron, and they come there, they are unhappy because they're not used to how Grab food riders, they have to wait. Dia kena tunggu kan. Diorang
Yeah.
tak expect that. They want cepat. So there's that unhappiness where you have to get used to new things. That's why we kena banyak sabar and be able to adapt. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Vijan. I think this is normal. As Ustad was saying that every now and then we had that, we call it recession or crisis, right? And we had to reinvent ourselves or redevelop ourselves. But I
Yeah.
think sometimes people are so used to where they are, and that's why they're finding it difficult to move forward and to do something different.
You know, we always criticize the younger generations. We call them millennials.
Yeah.
Habis orang panggil kita boomers kan. You millennial kan. So actually they are the ones, and we always call them strawberry generation apa semua. But I think this period in our lives is going to really shape them up, and they're going to be so resilient and strong enough to weather this. And they are digital natives, and they're able to come out on top of this. So, but for the majority of us, yang kita very comfortable, some of my peers pun tak mau belajar digital skills lah. So they're very used to the jobs that they have in, say, manufacturing apa kan. So they don't want to learn new things. Now they are forced to learn. So our generation, the slightly older generation, we are the ones caught out in the open, having to adapt. Maybe we are used to bigger incomes also. The younger generation, they're fine, still maybe living with their parents, masih. But when I came into the job market in 2001, baru habis NS, with a diploma, and I thought the employers are going to roll out a red carpet for me kan. But tadi alamak, job market very teruk that time. So a lot of my batch were forced to take whatever job we have during SARS period. So we all went into different directions, not what we studied. So I think during this period, when a lot of the fresh job entrants, they are going to face that as well. And this, the implication, the repercussion of this might take them 5 to 10 years or even more to overcome. But they're going to go down different roads, and they have to get used to that. Not what they studied. Yeah.
But I think it's the same for every generation. I felt like even mine also, I mean, people who I know older than me, and who I thought when I was younger, like they're going to be successful, but it's something else. Of course, we pray for everyone to be successful. You study so hard, you get maybe master and all that, but then you realize the world is something different from where you started building your vision and your future, right? Correct. And you can see also right now, like even all the food shop all over Singapore suddenly scramble to do delivery and something. You touched about it before, like the transport mahal and all that. And I think this is an opening a lot of people's eyes, like why don't we look into this before? And why don't we learn about something that we don't think that it can happen? But in your own experience, right? Each time you think you had fall, and you think that you do not make it to your expectation, right? As a businessman, as a boss lah, how is it that you muhasabah, that you reflect upon yourself and you bounce from there?
Okay. At different junctures in my life, I've always seen that whenever I'm up against a wall, actually there's something that Allah wants me to learn. There's a lesson there, and as long as I don't learn that lesson, I cannot get through that. So the way that I reflect is that there's something here for me, for each of us personally, and the lesson. I mean, we are all going through the same thing, pandemic, and tapi every one of us come to this wall. Dia macam SOC kan, kita sampai kat low wall kan. Kita semua sampai kat low wall tu. Tapi for each person, you need to draw that out from yourself in order to actually overcome that wall. And it has a different lesson for each one of us. So when I know that this thing is ahead of us, and actually it scared me a lot. I find that maybe many around us might not even see it coming at that time, or even my staff or my employees, they don't really see the full size of extent of this. And
Yeah.
when I see that, actually when I see that our DPM announced the first budget,
Mm.
and then
Yeah.
that okay, we're going to roll out all this, we're going to pay your staff salary for 9 months at 25%. I already know this is very bad. This is very bad, because our government has never done this in its history. Kan?
Yeah.
Dia akan bayarkan gaji your employees.
Stuff. Yeah.
It's never happened before. So when they say that and they're not going to pay for 1 month or 2 months, straight away they cakap 9 bulan. Then you already know what's coming. Dia macam tsunami kan. Before tsunami hit,
Yeah.
right? The waves
The-
recede and it's
yeah.
very quiet kan. So
Yeah.
you know, wow, it's coming. What's coming is very bad. Yeah.
Yeah, inshallah. Thank you, Brother Rijal. Ustaz, some people are asking like, what are the wirid we can do? And how do we yakin with the wirid through these pandemic times for our rescue to sustain our life? Yeah.
Firstly, firstly, you believe in Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. To make the wirid works, you have to believe in Him. No matter how many wirids you read, it doesn't work because you don't believe in Him. Right? You have to strengthen your relationship with Him, inshallah. Make this as a lesson to be learned, struggle that you follow through, something that make you a better person, something that's going to change you for the better, something that make you stronger for the sake of Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. We believe so that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentions that if you can't be a scholar, Rasulullah says, be a businessman. Because before he was a messenger, he was a businessman doing business for Khadijah, and his wife was a businessman. So we believe so that the biggest struggles that are going through right now is the businessmen, because they're holding 9-10 of the rizq that Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala give to this dunya, right? So the first is to have belief in Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, and then secondly you start to do wirid. Wirid has a lot of wirid according to your capacity and understanding and your ability to perform them. Right? Don't miss your prayers on time. Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala says Quran, wa'mur ahlaka bis-salah was-sabir 'alaiha, la nas'aluka rizqan nahnu narzuqukum. Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala says, don't forget your prayers, stand according to the prayers with all the rulings. Don't ask us about our provisions. Inshallah, we are the one who guide you towards your provisions. So firstly is to take care of your salah. Right? Don't miss your prayers. This is the most important thing where you strengthen your relationship with Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. There's someone that you can hold upon. For example, the companion of Sayyidina Abdurrahman bin Auf radhiyallahu an, that he was from Mecca and Medina. What he had with him is just his clothing. Right? That was all he had, just his clothing. What there was a belief that in Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, that he changed and then he became businessman and then he became a rich person, and people read about his story of how he became successful in business, right? Firstly is your salah. Then secondly, of course, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentions rakaatin duha rajabul rizki, that the 2 rakaat of duha comes provisions for you. There's a lot of provisions here mentioned, not just the mal of the wealth, but also knowledge, but also relationship, but also just the attractions. Certain people you can see, mashallah, they have these distractions in business or outside of business, right? So secondly, you can perform this surah duha. Thirdly is to talk more with Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala with your struggles. This is something highly recommended by many scholars. Talk to him during the third of the night, right? When you wake up towards the last end of the night, you pray tahajjud or you pray 2 rakat of hajat, and then talk to him and discuss with him. You see, the good thing of talking with Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, it releases some burden away from you. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he was preparing the battle of Badr in Ramadan, you can see the rest of the company was sleeping well because it was with good weather, it was raining. Tomorrow we are preparing for a fight and they can sleep, mashallah. Our Prophet was standing. He was standing, he was performing prayers, and he was, and then we use doa to Allah Subhanahu, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, please give us victory, please give us victory. So that's how Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam prepared himself to get victorious in the battle of Badr, right? And also Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam greatly encouraged about sedekah, the importance of sedekah. You never know this sedekah because what you give is something that is given back by Allah Subhanahu wa taala many times more. Allah said in the Quran, "Man yuqridullah qardan hasana fa yudha'ifu lahu adhafan katsira." That indeed that those who give for the sake of Allah Subhanahu wa taala, that Allah Subhanahu wa taala give them much more than what they have in fact for the sake of Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Even on a daily basis, for example, you can give $1 away, $2 away online, right? You don't know that the $2 that keep you safe from COVID-19, they give you provisions towards even during these bad times and struggles. He will give you strength. That Allah Subhanahu wa Taala give you the love of people in your family. And so there's something that you can do sedekah. And of course, during this time of COVID-19, you have more time in your house. Read more Quran, right? This is something that we are always at time busy with work, so we have more opportunity to recite Quran. There was once in Saudi, there was this sheikh. You know, he actually was one of the major supplier to Panda. If you've been to Jeddah, there's this called supermarket called Panda, just like the Giant in Singapore. So he became one of the so-called supplier to Panda superstore, and he was asked, "What's your recipe of being rich or become successful?" And he said, "I never miss reciting Quran every day." So that was something that is to encourage us that indeed Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is the provider. That He has His own ways. At times during this struggle, that He's keeping something which is better for us. Right? And He's keeping it until the time is right for us to get the best provisions that He has prepared for us, inshallah. So that was.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay, thank you, Ustaz. MashaAllah. A bit connection a bit low just now. Alhamdulillah, I received some question, and I think some of these questions are really good for us to learn from our panels. Maybe I'll start with Brother Rijal. Brother Rijal again. This question is, the circuit breaker is affecting the morale of my team members. Everyone is not performing up to their standard and they are facing so much difficulty and stress at home. It affects their work productivity, and we are working from home, which is not a norm for our working schedule as we are working in the office. Is there any way we can do to uplift the spirit in these times of uncertainties? How can we manage them into better efficiency? Ni for boss.
Okay, sorry. Okay, what I was saying was during this period circuit breaker, I don't see as pushing on sales or performance. Firstly, we all have to get used to what's happening around us, and I mean that means a lot of different things to different people. For some of them, they are very worried about their family. You know, maybe they have family members who have been retrenched, lost income, and so they have to pitch in. So everybody has a different set of challenges. Jadi kalau kita, I mean, my advice to myself and other bosses is that jangan stress them out further lah. I mean, we maybe want our sales to be as usual, but you have to just brace yourself for that hit. The one thing that we can learn from this is that we should have had reserves going into periods like this. Like you said now, every 7 years or every 10 years, you know, we know there's going to be economic challenges, challenging period. So we should have our reserves, our war chest that can last us through this, our funds. Jadi, I know there are people who overnight, you know, our sales is zero, or it has dropped by say 50% up to 70-80%. So even for my businesses, I mean the KL one, for 3 months, I just take it as 0%. I mean I don't even ask my KL staff to push or to market or what. Just tell them to take a break, you know. And for Singapore pun, I mean the way I look at it is that we try new things. We try new things that we've never done before for all these many years, and we try new things. So the approach is experimentative. What can we experiment on and learn new ways of doing business? Yeah. Tapi, I mean, rather than trying to change our staff, this is a hard medicine to serve out. We should try to change ourselves. Our bar is too high maybe for our team. So be more tolerant, be more loving, and bagi chance dengan orang.
Yeah. I agree. Inshallah, beautifully said. But what if the scenario is a bit complicated, Brother Rijal? I'm asking you and Mr. Amin also on this perspective. For example, someone who work in MNC, for example,
Okay.
and the struggle, maybe tourism ke apa kan, and you are caught in between. For example, like your boss have no choice but to push you because money needs to come in the coffers. They are not like you lah. The boss is not like you. Mashallah, beautiful man. These are MNC. They need to reach their own target and all that. So this person reach a peak where it might be anxiety or depression because you have to force yourself to perform and to reach your target and everything. What would your advice be for such person going through a very severe crisis in terms of, I don't want to lose my job because I do not know if I can find another job. And in these pandemic times, it's difficult to get jobs. But at the same time, I'm struggling with my mental state and with the work is beginning to push on me and I cannot perform, I cannot deliver the expectation. So in your case, how would you advise that person? And later I'm going to start also with this.
Okay. I think Ustaz would have very good advice for this. For my part is that the belief that rezeki tu datang dari siapa, not from our bosses. So the way that we work, who are we working for? And if the boss is really putting on so much stress on you and you really feel that stress coming on, then you might not be in the right place as well. You might want to ask yourself that lah. And that belief too, that even if you lose whatever you have right now, you will be replaced by something better. As long as, you trust in Allah's plan for you. That what comes after this is better. If I can share, because Khalid, you know my mom very well and so as a young person coming into the workforce, I've seen the struggle she had. She lost a few 100,000 during SARS. During SARS, we have 5 kedai makan and 1 catering kitchen. We just set up the catering kitchen and she poured a lot of money into that. And seemingly overnight, within weeks, we lost a lot. We started closing shops. Tinggal 1 kedai je eventually. So throughout that period, I never see her merongot or like want to give up. And so she just kept going and today, alhamdulillah, about almost 20 years after SARS and all that, what Allah has planned for her after that is so beautiful. But she don't know that. She don't know that. Kita semua tengok, we can see in retrospect in retrospect. But she don't know that because at that moment she is the same age that I am right now. She was the same age. She was in her early 40s, and that hit her. So that bravery and courage that she showed is what keeps me going during these tough times. Because there's a part of me that actually is so grateful, bersyukur that Allah has placed this right now in my lap. Because I don't know the next 20 years where I'll be, but I have that certainty that He is going to reward me if only I can overcome and go through this without merungut, without losing hope, without feeling like losing is failing. Is the trial that He has set in place, and the reward is going to be so great. Jadi what's there to fear? That's my approach.
How about you, Start? What your advice be?
My advice would be to look always for the Woman of the Year. When they give these prizes to Woman of the Year, they go through a lot of struggles. Especially I used to watch Malaysian channel, There was this lady who had 9 children. The husband died young. She was still in the early 30s. She got 9 mouths to feed, and she's working at the plantation. Alhamdulillah, that 9 children become people, accountants, doctors, engineers, mashallah. And when she wondered what she was asked, what is the recipe of that struggle? Say, I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I can't even know simple mathematician, but I have a son who's has a PhD in so and so. So that strength is not from me, the strength is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we are not so-called asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to work 24 hours a day. Our capability is to that we have limitations. I heard Grab drivers working about 14 hours, 15 hours, 17 hours just to reach their target income for every month, say 5,000, 6,000, just to get the amount, right? We have limitations in our life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself put us that you don't need to memorize Quran. You don't need to complete the Quran daily. If you can read so much, that is enough for me. If you need more, you can read more if you can. It's your capability. Right, so Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ever mercy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept a lot of secrets. This secret is something that we can learn from Surah Kafi. Why the child was killed, so forth. Why did Khidir did that and Khidir did that. So we believe so, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preparing something big for us. And I've said that all bad things or so-called struggles they go through, there's always a loving end. If you watch Hindustan, Inspector Shankar always come at the end. But it's always too late, but it's a good ending. It's always a good ending. Alhamdulillah. The thing is, we need to go through. We need to overcome this. This is like, if the degree is 3 years, you have to go 3 years. If you're unlucky, you get the lecturer who hates you, then you have to go through that. So this is something that we have to go in our normal routine life. If you're unlucky, you go through bad bosses. You have to go through. This is not horrible bosses 3. But you have to go through what life has put for you. You believe so. Eventually, even when we're in the army, you get a good encik, good warrant officers. They give you a lot of officers. Then there are those who don't give officers and so that. So we believe so. This is our qadar and qadar by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, I must to emphasize here is that you don't need to push yourself until you have to really put yourself in a difficult situations. If you have to let go, you have to let it go. For example, even in marriages, you say, why are you still keeping in these marriages? You're being hantam every day like WWE. This is something that you should move on from there. You should move and live. So at times, that's where during this time of struggle, it's very important for you to strengthen the relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What our boss Rija has mentioned, that if you have that belief, you know who's a provider, then that should at least ease yourself. We believe so now. You can see pilots are now out of job. They're earning thousands of dollars. They don't earn 5,000-6,000. They're over 15,000-25,000 per month. They have a lot of loans to pay. They're staying in bungalows. They don't stay in our houses like us. They ride on big cars. So what's happening to them? So this is time of humility. We as a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is time of humility to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So hopefully there's lessons to be learned here. That is something that we should strengthen all the while, that it could be in complacent with what we had, right? At times we were not saving enough, like what Boss Richard was saying. You should have some like a watches. There are those people who had 20,000 every month. 20,000 is gone just like that, right? Lavish holidays, right? Every 3 months Paris, and then to Madrid, and then to London, and then to Hollywood. So now it's no more Hollywood, right? It's not only now is Adam Road Keywood. So we need to adapt. We need to adapt. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Everyone is feeling in it throughout the world. We are all going through those three struggles. There are those who can't even perform Hajj this year, right? So there's a lot of struggles involved here. So everyone is going through this struggle. So we believe so with the strength and the guidance by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inshallah, with the barakah, we're able to overcome this.
Inshallah. Thank you, Ustaz. I'm staying with you, Ustaz, because you mentioned about qadar and qadar and about risky. How about someone, because someone shared with me right now that he's in debt, right? And he needs to clear that debt fast, because as you know, debt pun ada bunga, ada loan, interest and everything, right? So what is the best way for him to start right now that he cannot afford to lose his job, but at the same time, I mean, he cannot afford to lose his job because he has this debt that he wanted to clear as fast as possible. But at the same time, he cannot tahan. Like what you saying lah, some Grab driver, they work so hard just to get 5,000-6,000 a month, but then after that you fall sick and everything. But for him, he work in different environment lah. But just that he wants your advice on this since he's in debt. Yeah.
I think this is a time when you reflect yourself. Why was the loan being incurred, right? Loans for houses is something that is compulsory, but loans, credit cards is something that you need to reflect yourself, how you're spending. There's a lot of issues regarding spending, and part of business is also to have prudent spending, right? There are certain very important expenses that you need. However, there are times where you overspend because you think you can afford it because you have a credit card here. So if you're looking into the expenses that you have, for example, you can afford, for example, a 1.6 liter car, they say let's go big, you want the vroom, get a bigger car. So when you have something like that, you have to look into the respect whether you are able to afford that. So this is time when you look and reflect about your spending habits, right? There's a time where you now to defer that Chanel bag and LV bag, they should defer from now for some time, right? Your husband not doing that well, so don't push him, right? So this is something that you need to reflect on yourself, right? Secondly, if the loan is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, something that you struggle for the sake of your family and so forth, inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a way out. But something that is, your bad habits is something that you need to reflect yourself, because not every problems will be settled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At times because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to reflect on yourself, right? So however, there's certain things that you can do. Firstly is to change your spending habits, right? Secondly is always ask from, for now is a good time. Actually, even they come up with a bill next week for you to extend your loan payments, right? For your houses, for your cars, for your renters. So use that opportunity. Even in banks, even in insurance companies, they allow you to delay your payments. So hopefully, you're going to change yourself and reduce this debt. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam encourages to reduce your debt. In fact, if you die with debts, is something that is not highly greatly encouraged. The thirdly is, of course, now you have no choice. You have no choice. You got no money. Who's the one who's rich? Who's the one who's a provider? So you have to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So hopefully, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you ease that you are able to pay back your debts, right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you strength, because the struggle that you find for the sake to provide food for your family is worthwhile in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It becomes like fighting in a battle. It's like jihad fi sabilillah. So worrying, stressing to give food or put food, especially for your employees, especially for your family, is a battle for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Inshallah. Thank you, Ustaz. Inshallah. Brother Rijal, I have one question here. Very interesting question, actually. I don't know whether it makes sense or not, but someone like you in your field will probably able to say whether it makes sense or not. So it was say I try to rephrase. There are two questions almost similar. I try to rephrase. It's about, they say that not everything is negative. Not everything is negative in crisis. Because there are times when you are in crisis, you may gain something out of it, like we said also. But what I'm trying to get at is that these people are saying that some company or some businessmen, they make a fortune through crisis.
Yes.
Right. So for them, like say now we are looking at this pandemic, what can they learn from pandemic situation to be a good businessman? And can they start business in this period of time? Two questions now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Firstly, the government will love you if you start a business during this period. You can go to Accra and just register, and tonight you will have a new business. To prepare yourself, I've had discussions like that with some of my friends who are business owners. So we are all in different industries or fields, and so now it's a common thinking. We look around and we see the ones who are benefiting. Sheng Siong jadi billionaire overnight, right? So we should all open mama shops or supermarkets, or go into selling masks or selling hand sanitizers and all that. I mean, you can plan it in such a way if you're planning for the next pandemic. You think that the next pandemic gonna hit us maybe COVID-20 ke COVID-21. Pasal ada kawan yang tunjuk video orang makan buaya semua kan. So dahsyat lah. So COVID-20 or 21 might be around the corner. So if you want to prepare yourself that way, then you go into those industries. But frankly, I don't know. Personally, I would not do that. I love to do creative kind of businesses in media or arts. So like I run publishing, I run printing media business. So we have our role to play as well during this time. So if you want to see how you can be on top of things, then you see how you can contribute to what's happening around you. Frankly, it's not always about making money. Rezeki too is in so many different aspects. So like being able to stay at home and spend more time with your kids, if you know how to see that as a blessing. That I mean, a lot of people are aware during Ramadan we are at home. We tak sibuk kat bazar. Kita boleh solat with our kids. We are there every morning and every evening. And we buka every day. We sit around the same table. We're all there. We're all present. So it's an opportunity. That itself is the opportunity lah. Yeah.
But interesting also, right? In this COVID-19, it shows the reality of business also, kan? Because people always think macam you do business, it's all about dollars and cents. Like what you said, it's not. It's all profit. So you were thinking like senang. I mean, it came to me also like one time. I say like, senang ke nak jadi millionaire? You know, like you suddenly think like you sell barang je, you dah boleh. So this COVID-19 actually sort of unveil a lot of things that people don't see, and now they are beginning to see it. But for you yourself, right? If someone like these young people, I'm sure they are young and they are energetic, and you give advice just now.
Okay.
What would you say to them also in terms of when is the right time to start your business? Through your experience, through your experience, yeah.
Through my experience, the right time to start your business is 5 years ago.
MashaAllah.
When I started my business, I wish I started 5 years ago. Tapi get started as soon as you can. But of course, you need experience and knowledge also. So sink some time into that to learn the industry, and then you start on your business. Tapi the only impediment I see is the only thing stopping you is fear. If you can overcome your fear, then you beranikan diri untuk cuba new things, try new things. During trying a challenging time like this, you dare. Pasal you tak ada choice. You have no choice, you terpaksa, you dare to try. Walaupun you tak register business ke, you tak, during this period, there was this whole incident about the home-based businesses, and they want to do what they can to put food on the table kan, for their families.
Yeah.
So they push for it, and because of that, we are able to galvanize and move, and the government reopen back again. So our movement makes a difference. It's down to every single person there kan. Tapi okay, so to do business is two different things. Satu, you berani nak buat. You dare to do it, and you're brave enough to do it personally. And secondly, you need the knowledge to do it. Ada orang yang buat business, dia berpusing-pusing in circles for 10, 20 years, and they're still in the same place. In order to go to the next stage or the next level in business, you need knowledge. Even during this period also, how we can not say benefit, but how we can derive benefit from what the government is giving us, we need knowledge actually to go and read what kind of assistance schemes that is open to us. So we need to read up, we need to find out. So these two things hand in hand lah. Berani buat dengan find the knowledge, cari ilmu untuk buat business.
MashaAllah. Thank you. That's very that's very essential. I think a lot of people watching this, I think they learn a lot from you. And I think it is important for us to, it has to start somewhere, but you also need something to start somewhere.
Because sorry, Khalid, if I can interject.
Yeah, no problem.
Because of my involvement dengan Singapore Malay Chamber kan.
Yeah.
So I'm also in the Singapore Business Federation punya SME committee. So
Yep.
we meet every 3 or 4 months. Our last meeting was in November last year. For 2019 your last meeting, and everybody is very optimistic at that point. Because many of us going into 2020 think that it's going to be a great year for business. And then when we met again in February, the outlook is very negative, very pessimistic. Because in February itself, many of the big businesses have already taken the first hit in tourism, in travel, in manufacturing. They've already taken the first hit. Tapi for many of us, kita belum lagi tahu. Pasal kita belum rasa circuit breaker, kita belum apa. So we are the next wave lah. But so what I want to say is that we want to outsmart this thing, right? By asking ourselves, what can we do so that we can benefit from times like this? But really, we are not that smart now, because the big boys, the ones running the big businesses, they also don't have the answers. They don't have the answers. They are all trying their best to cope right now. All the big restaurant chains, the huge restaurant chains with many brands under them, semua trying to cope the best they can.
Yeah. I think this is very interesting that you bring this up, because people are listening and watching. I think there's so much we can learn, that business is not a straightforward thing. Just buat and then besok dah jadi millionaire, besok dah jadi usahawan, that kind of thing. I understand. Sorry.
I think that leads to the next thing, which because we think kalau kita tak sampai that line, then we take it very hard on ourselves. Kalau kita buat business, kita tak jadi millionaire or multi-millionaire, kalau kita tak berjaya, when we come into times like this and we tell ourselves, alamak, why didn't we prepare ourselves better? How can we overcome this? And then just because we don't, right, we take it so hard on ourselves, and that's why it affects us mentally, and that feeling of failure lah. So that's why you have to learn to detach yourself, and be very objective about it. That it's written for us. We can try our best, but it's not down to us. So I mean, this session, certainty in the time of uncertainty, it's not certainty in ourselves, right? It's not. I can take care of myself. It's not about us.
Yeah, I think like what I said, I think it's very interesting and important, essential, that you bring this up through your own experience, because a lot of people, when they see businessmen, automatically they always think like, orang ni orang senang, dia drive kereta, dia ada worker. But I mean, I worked with your mom before, so I know the struggle is not what people see. And it's also interesting, like what you're mentioning, all the struggle and all the unexpected situation. Like you're saying about November, you met them, and then everybody's positive about 2020. I think it's a cliche, 2020, wawasan 2020. So everybody's like, we're going to make it, we're going to make it big. But then come this COVID-19, right? But interesting, you point out all this struggle, which reminded me of Ustad Amin. He ever said to me, Ustad, you said like, to be a businessman is like to be a wali Allah, because your tawakal is to Allah. So, Ustad, in such a way that you speak before, I hope you still remember. So, you, in such a way that, in your own spiritual perspective, how is it to be a businessman and have that tawakal to Allah?
I mean, if you look into the traits of a businessman, someone is successful, he's holding a lot of people's food on the plate. He's just not a boss. He's also, preparing, also called providing for his employees as well. Right. So once there was a Islamic conference in halal food, also called Islamic Halal Conference in KL about a few years back. The Mufti of Wilayah Persekutuan, Dr. Zul Bakri, was invited. So since he was staying far away for Putrajaya for the conference, so he decided to stay in a hotel near this Putrajaya. So he went to the mosque every day for his subuh prayers. Then when he entered the mosque, he saw this old man and a young man reciting Quran. Right. So for the next 3 days, he's been seeing these two guys. So on the fourth day, the last day of the conference, this old man is the one who gave a talk in the halal conference. So he was shocked. This is the guy I met during subuh prayers, and he owns over 20 hotels in the Middle East. He owns Safwa in Mecca. So if you've been to Mecca, right, for Umrah or Hajj, most of us will be usually staying in a Safwa, which right in front. So the Mufti said, if I know, I could get a discount for him. He said, I have over 12,000 employees. 12,000 employees. I'm providing food not only for 12,000 employees, I'm providing food for 12,000 families. It could be something that they're supporting their families, their parents, children, grandchildren, and so forth. So a lot of it at my stake. So it's like as if I'm the leader. So that's what a businessman is. So I need to find my best capability and strength to fulfill their needs. Of course, Allah is the provider, but I have to do the right things, make the right decisions, right? So he said, the reason why you see me in Subuh is because that's me daily asking from help from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And he knows he loves his verses, which is Quran. So I recited that daily basis to get the strength. If I were to think about my responsibilities, I would die tomorrow because of stress. Because thinking about 12,000 employees, what they are doing right now, how my decisions will affect them and so forth. I can go crazy, tomorrow I will die. But I believe so, my capability and strength is to a certain limit. And the rest is with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So the reason why I say a businessman is like a wali Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, because he's actually holding a lot of responsibilities. At the same time, he's gaining that trust with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the real provider. So we mentioned before about Razak and Rizqun. So Razak is Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, that he provides food for everyone. We are not the one who provides food. So he make it easy for everyone. He makes that, that my employees are not fighting among the other. There's no disagreement between my workers and so forth. So he's thinking that making that everything is in place. There's only certain things that certain extent that I can help them, right? So when we make difficult decisions in life, also as business decisions, is also for the goodness of the business, right? Even the best investor in the world, Warren Buffett was saying, first quarter his sales was down 50 billion. Not $5, 50 billion. So that's the best investor you can say. Who's better than him, right? So there's Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So what we try to learn here is what our boss has said, that we have to believe in our provider. That's where the tawakkal and the strength and certainty in Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. At times we have to be humble and shows our humility. We've seen here a lot of people have lost their jobs, but to keep the food on the table, they are willing to accept any job that's available. Right? That is not I would say shame. That is something out of integrity. That's what we men, husbands, have to take this responsibility when we start a family. So this is nothing to be ashamed about. Right? You could be someone who's of high status. Now you're just nobody, right? So you're taking certain jobs just to put food on the table. This is nothing to be ashamed for, but this is some integrity, right? So we believe so that this is only for a while. There is something that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala wants us to adapt, to remember Him greatly. That Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala deserves something better for us. We believe so that as Muslims, that this is the time for us to reflect on ourselves, reflects on our relationship with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and reflect in what as Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has put as predetermined qadar and qadar for us.
Yeah, mashallah, beautiful Ustaz. We're already over 1 hour already, mashallah. I think we have to call it an end. But I received one message from someone who is watching this live, but he's also a patient of COVID-19. And he like to thank Brother Rijal and Ustaz Amin for all the gems and wisdom. So before I end, Ustaz and Brother Rijal, I would like to ask both of you to give your last say, any last word that you like to share with the people. And it's not only in Singapore, alhamdulillah, Malaysia and some parts of the world now watching. I think we begin with Boss Rijal first.
Oh, okay. For me, I say we should take this time to work on ourselves, and like what you said, do whatever it takes for the essential things that you need to put food on the table for the family. Jadi put your pride and your ego aside. Even we must draw on the lessons from Ipman. Even Ipman pun kena teruk kan. Lawan the Japanese and all that, and have to do manual labor, but he overcome it. So sometimes you have to take yourself away from harsh reality of life. If you have to read or watch movies to gain inspiration, tapi tak payah get inspiration for apa, Shankar. I tak tahu tu cerita apa you tengok. Yeah, but sometimes you need heroes, right? To get through the dark days. You need to have your heroes. So you have heroes around you as well in real life, and you can draw strength from them as well. But always reach out. Don't struggle on your own. Keep to yourself. I've seen more instances of people going through mental challenges during this period.
Thank you, Brother Rida. Ustaz, your last thing, your advice?
And my last word will be La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Right? So now we really know our strength. That we are just poor servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have no strength. We have been thankful with all the good times. You know, Manu has been enjoying all the good times. Now it's quite bad. Right? So we go through phases in our life. We go challenges, trials, and tribulations in our life. We believe so. Dunya is all full of that, right? Dunya is always, before marriage, there's certain challenges. During marriage, challenges. Even when you become grandparents, there's a lot of challenges. In business, there's challenges. There's a lot of challenges. But you see, to pass these challenges, you become a better person, right? So we believe so that to get the highest point, you want to get 80, 90, and A1 and distinction in your test, that you have to go through higher tests and trials that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given us. It seems that this is the time where we can use to change ourselves, to change our bad habits for the better. This is the time for us to reflect our relationship with our family. This is the time to reflect what are the benefits that we make, we give to the community. Right? So at times we see people helping out. There are those neighbors who are in need. So there are those affected with the quarantine that they don't have more people to help to take care of their children and their grandchildren. This is where the neighbors play a role. There are those also who are affected in terms of income that that you can help out. This is the time for you to help out. So Alhamdulillah, we are thankful for whatever situation that we are. But remember, for your fellow brothers who are in need, stretch that hand when they are in need, and always be thankful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I wouldn't say that we are in a worse situation, but certainly there are certain people who are much worse than us. Right? There are countries, if you see, in Africa, even in Indonesia, even in Middle East, we're seeing that they are going through bad times. There's no such as better times, but they go more bad times than us. We are thankful that we have a quite good healthcare system in Singapore. So we need to be thankful with what we have first, and then Allah says in the Quran, وَلِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنْكُمْ. You have to be thankful for what you have, right? The one who has a car should be thankful that those who rides on motorbike. Motorbike should be thankful that those with bicycles. Bicycles should be thankful that those people who are walking. Walking should be thankful that those who can't even walk, they're on wheelchairs. The wheelchairs are always thankful because they stay alive. So they always be thankful for all the small things in life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and give us in our lives. And we pray for our fellow brothers and sisters to give strength. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala change their life for the better. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ease their hardship. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise their ranks for what they go through. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it short. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring good times back again so that we can go Johor again.
Thank you, Ustaz. MashaAllah, we had a blessed time. We had a lot of positive feedback for tonight. And once again, I would like to thank Brother Rijal and Ustaz Amin. Thanks for coming on board on behalf of South Ilahi. And we are also honored to co-host with WGL Wegmani. Right. Yes. I would like to say a few words. The books that Brother Rija produced are actually very good book, inspiring book from all the people who struggle in their life. And I realized that. That's how I realized when I watched what he posted and all that on his Facebook. I felt that it's a similar to what spiritual path is. It's not about how good you are. It's about you understanding who you really are, and you're dealing with yourself, and but you are coming towards Allah. And so do check out WGL books. They do launch and all that. Alhamdulillah. So with this, I'd like to say thank you everyone for watching, wherever you are. May Allah ease our affairs and suffice our need. May Allah make it easy for us. See all of you again, inshallah, in our next episode. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, that was we hope it's an interesting session for you to learn about business and also what people go through every day in their life, especially businessmen. We hope this will spur you on to give you hope. So inshallah tomorrow morning we'll have Sidi Talud, Imam Sidi Talud class on the path to Allah. Do not forget to tune in 12 p.m. And I think most of us are at home. So inshallah, try to benefit it. More details on our coming event at our Facebook and IG. And with this, I would like to say thank you very much. May Allah bless all of you. Thanks for your support. We hope you have benefit from our event or program. Assalamualaikum.